โอเคปะเรามาลองดูกันดีกว่าครับคุณผู้ชมครับว่ามันเป็นจังไหนนะครับผมเนาะปะครับโอเคเราจะเริ่มจากเกมที่เกมที่เกมนี้มันไม่ได้30โอเคพี่น่าจะต้องเป็นเกมถัดมาโอลับนี้แพ้นะโอเคมันเริ่มแต่ดูดับกันเลยดีกว่าครับ
One of the most common responses will get locked through in that Callista lane. So I think that talking about to get
โอเคนะครับมาผมอันนี้ก็จะเป็นดูแข่งแบบย้อนหลังนะเพราะว่าพี่ไม่ได้ดูสดต่อนะครับก็ต้องไปเรียกว่ามีกิจกรรมครับนะครับก็เลยไม่ได้ดูต่อครับมาดูว่าเกมที่4ครับตอนนี้ที่วันยังนำอยู่2-1นะครับมาดูว่าเป็นอย่างไรครับมาผมก็ตอนนี้แบนกันไปแล้วนะครับก็3เกม3เกมนะครับก็คือ30ตัวเนาะตอนนี้จริงๆเลนกลางมีพวกแบบอากาลิอะไรอย่างนี้อยู่นะ
engage champions are what you have left, and sometimes you want to make sure that you can have a strong 2v2 there to play through. So the vibe will get removed, unsurprisingly.
วายไม่ถูกเลือกเลยนะแบนวายครับฮาริยาไปแล้วอาลีไปแล้วไลซ์ไปแล้วเหลือวิกเตอร์เหรอ
It's likely that Owner will not be allowed to play Nocturne this time, but a Ziggs ban is kind of insanity.
That's interesting.
ก็มาดูย้อนก็ต้องบอกว่าคือดูผ่านๆจริงๆครับดูแบบว่ารู้ว่าแบบเฮ้ยกำลังจะแพ้ชนะแบบแค่นั้นเลยอะแต่ว่าไม่ได้ดูแบบละเอียดครับว่าเป็นอย่างไรนะครับ
deeper and deeper into Fearless, and there are less and less options
into
those sorts of drafts.
That's the kind of thing when they ban Bard every game, and almost all the range supports are gone. All the enchanters are gone, and you can have that 2-3 like I was talking about to get.
นี่นะขอไปโพสใน Discord ก่อนนะเผื่อน้องๆบางคนยังไม่รู้นะครับอยู่ไหนนะเดี๋ยวต้องดูดิสด้วยเนาะโอเคแล้วเราก็มาตรงนี้
the set duo, get your Renata locked in for sure, and then deny anything else. You can protect the lane. You feel really good about it. Remember, Ashe Seraphine is already gone. So I think that you are on to a potentially very strong read here in that Callista lane. Let's see what happens in this final ban here for T1. What their last choice is going to be. They'll take away the Zoe from Showmaker, prevent him from looking for more playmaking.
Yeah, an odd one, but we have seen Zoe's cropping up later and later into drafts.
D+ read this and ban the Callista.
That could be interesting. I don't know whether they want to pick it this early.
Varus goes over if you do that.
Oh yeah, true. Maybe don't.
I think they probably have to ban Varus here.
I would recommend banning a Varus. I don't think you want to give Pays. Like, what would he then play? Zeri, which we know he's incredible at and did just dominate. Zeri, Yunara, and then the Aphelios, which they didn't quite find the win on. But then if he's allowed to immediately play Varus, then he's kind of got the cream of the crop so far.
So the Varus
looks like that's exactly what happens.
ที่วันเรียกวารัสตรงนี้ก็คงเป็นซิลเวอร์เนาะ
The Varus a little bit less appealing, but still can be quite strong.
I feel like it's going to have to be a Sivir answer here with Jarvan already off the table, and maybe that's an option that they can go for.
That's been a really common response to the Varus. The spell shield value is quite high, and the wave clear is really huge. No Jarvan, like you mentioned. And so let's see what the response is going to be. The Wukong that's been considered so heavily throughout the series will finally get its lock.
All right,
and maybe. If you wanted to, you could just go Rakan here as well and say, well, we have a lot of engage.
I don't know about that. I'm a little bit worried about that sort of angle, although, I mean, there's...
ซิลเวอร์
And it's a tough pick to
โอ้
blind
ซาเห็น
for the top lane.
เอาไป
But when
สู้
you can hold the
ของ
flex like this, it feels
หรอ
very strong. Assuming owner doesn't just lock in an obvious jungle pick here. Can lock a commenter instead. So very brawly compositions on both sides here with the Zahin Galio up against the
difficult. Shiyu is having a little bit.
a little was banned just because it's so.
เลยหยิบนามาสวน ให้ซาเฮนต้องไปเป็นจังเกิล
I think protecting it is a good idea.
And for the side of T1 here, you could ban the Rakan, the Nico also. Big problem here. You could also look to take away the Leona as well. You're worried about that, but this Varus is so long range, and you already have the Galio and the Zahin that the Leon going well. The cover and it's left.
แบนป๊อปปี้
The Sivir, and also not great into Nar.
With the
เดี๋ยวน่าจะรูทหรือเปล่า
They can be played top here. It's not a fun time. Silas is insane value here into both the Alistar and the Nar. I think this may have been a big misstep here from D+.
I mean, Ona's already played the Silas jungle as well.
That's another good point, yeah. Much play in this situation. Alistar there, you know that you're not running into the Leona.
All right, so it's definitely not add-on. So
The Cassiopeia, there's so many things because it's actually one of those games
ที่
where
วันดับเล่นโคตรยากเลยอะดับเล่นโคตรยากเลยเนาะซายเฮนไปแล้วแบบแล้วสลับเป็นซายเฮนจังเกิลด้วย
which is what you really wanting to be doing. Obviously, when you hit level 6, you have more access to your ultimate than your enemy does, which is kind of funny. But outside of that, I feel like the jungle Silas just gets around and you can steal away all the ultimates that you want to. Is somehow this Siva is winning in the level 1.
เอาจริงพี่ว่าตัวสุดท้ายอะเป็นโซน่าอย่างดีกว่าเลย
happen.
เป็นกึ่งลับอะเนาะโซน่า
Does not have a combat summoner. I think that's a big part of this.
Yep.
Cannot actually offer anything back, and Smash was ready to ghost if he wanted to try to continue to exchange with them. See how Career performs on this
ที่เหลืออะไรมีโดน
Alistar,
แค่ถุงร้อน
as it is going to be pretty tough to play in this draft.
Yep, Korea is just going to have to keep headbutting. That's what we do see these Alistars doing.
Does T1 have enough damage here with Lethality Varus if this Silas falls behind? Like, I wonder, will it be enough? Like, Pays has to do so much heavy lifting in this game, and on the other side, D+ have a secondary AD threat at range with Shio here. Obviously, again, Doran has more access to his ultimate, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you win by default. They have Cassiopeia worth of damage, which is, you get to later on in the game, is a lot
แม่
of
ดาบเป็นดาบ
damage
ที่
output, and then Smash will be able to help
เล่น
control
ยาก
waves in
มาก
mid
เล
lane,
ยอะ
and is going to be a big scaling threat as well. So
คือดาบ
T1
เล่นยาก
cannot fall behind
โคตร
in this
โค
game.
ต
And
ร
I
เลย
don't
อะ
think the Nar steals
ไม่รู้ดิ
and the Alistar steals are going to be enough.
คือมันขาดตัวเปิดมันมีแต่ตัวตามเว้ย
Blade does come on down, but these noxious blasts just keep landing.
พี่ว่าตัวสุดท้ายเป็นโซน่าเล่นได้อยู่คอมเนี่ยตัวสุดท้ายถ้าไม่ใช่ราคาเป็นโซน่าพี่ว่าได้เพราะว่าเราคือมันเป็นกึ่งแบบทำยังไงก็ได้ให้ซาเฮนมันรอดจากไฟราคามันไม่ได้โซน่ามันยังพอแบบคือเป็นลับก็ได้หรือเป็นลุกก็ได้แต่ไซรัสก็จะขัดกับคอมนี้อยู่ดีคือไซรัสไม่รู้ว่าไซรัสเป็นดียังไงคือมันดีมันดีคือมันก๊อปอันติได้หลายตัวแต่มันไม่เข้ากับคอมไงคือมันไปกับซาเฮนแล้ววาระเล่นกับใครอะแล้วเข้าไปกับซาเฮนก็ไม่สามารถที่มีซีทำให้กาลิโอลงได้ซีไม่ได้หนาพอแล้วราคาก็เหมือนที่วาระเลยมันแปลกๆแต่มาดูนะว่าสถานการณ์เกมเป็นยังไงอะตอนนี้เลนก็ทรงๆครับเป็นมีเลนเฟเกอร์ที่มีปัญหาอยู่ที่มันเงินดรอปครับเพราะว่าแคสซี่กดยับเลยครับเวฟได้แค่ครึ่งเดียวครับเวฟได้15 กับ 30ครับหนักมากโอ้เนื่องมาแก๊งช็อตนี้ได้แฟดครับดึงมา
Showmaker is able to do a fair bit of damage here to Faker after that teleport.
Big swing of momentum in the mid lane after Faker was nearly solo killed. Still finds himself at a pretty significant CS deficit, but Getting the flash out of Showmaker as he TPs back in is a huge win.
Yep.
As this matchup is really tough to
พี่
play
คิดว่านะ
for the Silas
ถ้า
presets.
เปลี่ยน
And if you don't hit your chains,
ถ้าเปลี่ยนไซรัส
dances around you.
มันเปลี่ยนได้ มันเปลี่ยน มันต้องเลือกเปลี่ยนอ่ะ มันต้องเปลี่ยนไซรัสออกอ่ะแม่งก็ต้องเปลี่ยน AD ซึ่ง AD มันเปลี่ยนไม่ได้ มันเลือกแต่แรกใช่ป่ะไซรัสมันยังเปลี่ยนได้ไซรัสเล่นเป็นพวกไอริเลียได้ไอริเลียอากาลีอะไรอย่างเงี้ยพอได้เอาแบบว่าตัวที่แม่งรอดแบบยาวๆได้ไม่ต้องมากังวลส่วนไซเฮนมันต้องมีตัวแบบทำให้มันตายยากๆกาลิโอไซเฮนพอได้แต่ต้องมีตัวแบบช่วยอีกตัวนึงแต่โดนไฟเปิดวะ
Pace possibly in a little bit of trouble. Great spell shield though from Smash. Holds on. Make sure that he does get rid of the CC. Is Faker no justice punching for you, my friend. Showmaker looking for a little bit of an angle. Does he have another noxious blast? The answer is it doesn't matter because there's no vision. Does get a control ward down.
Faker played around that vision really well. He was like, you don't know where my Zahin is. I have a control word here, so you can chase me through that brush if you want. Now the Zahin's going to show up.
Yeah, there's a petrifying gaze, though, as Faker, he might just die. As
Faker
doesn't have his flash. And Ona tries to make his way over. Another poison comes on through as Faker walks up, flashes away. And Ona should be able to finish this one off. Showmaker, though, does have to get the flash out for Ona to be able to pick up that kill. Man, that was close as now Lucid looking for a little bit of an angle here as he gets over the wall. Flashes on forward. Can he get the Ona? The answer's no. Too many knockups, and they outplay the monkey.
Lucid's face, Atlas. Oh, the ankles were broken.
Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking. As she does have his Gnar available now. Doran just used his against him with the hijack. But man, Wolf, that could have been.
Everything about that was so close to being great for D+, but T1 were just that little bit further ahead in terms of the setup. Faker initially with the wraparound, everything about it. Showmaker goes for the ult here. Faker gets away initially.
One more Twin Fang and he's probably just dead.
And then Showmaker here gets
ทำไมรู้สึกเหมือนแบบพวกตัวไซเฮนมันต้องการแบบพวกแบบดิฟิซัลเบสแบบของ L อะของดอทวะคือเหมือนตัวมันต้องการแบบเบิร์นมาหน้าแล้วก็สโลว์
When Lucid goes in here, Owner just gets that extra bit. Look at God in the knockup and the taunt, and he's dead. And Faker
โอ้โห
just has
เลือด
enough
น่าจะเหลือ
mana
ไม่ถึง
as well.
5
Damn. Well,
that's the kind of moment where you're just like, I don't know, I gave it my all.
To be perfectly okay, he's dead again. And the problem is, like, I don't even think that's a tilter necessarily because it's so close, you know? And that might have been because Showmaker is now getting camped, and that lead that he had is gone. Faker
ก็คือไม่มีแฟลชแล้วก็คือ
and we know that
โด
Faker
น
likes
เข้า
to
มาอีกรอบ
build damage Galio. We don't. Okay, well, this is the replay. It looks like the same play as Grim Deliverance comes down. Showmaker tries to sidestep it, and it does not
คือกด
work.
อันตีเข้าไปในป้อมเลย
Faker's
ไซเฮน
get the taunt and so I mean tries to sidestep like you said. As now we have chains.
เชนคอร์รัปชั่น
And there is
สวยนะ
no
กูแล้วแฟลช
ulti available here for Korea. Good flash there from Pays as Smash just
ง้างต้อง
trying
โด
to
น
do
ต้องโด
enough
นให้ได้
damage to stop them from killing his cow.
โดนแต่ไม่ตาย
As another couple of autos from Carrier will be required. Grand entrance to finish him off. That's a creative way to get a kill. And now Smash could be in a lot of trouble, although he's doing a fair bit of damage back. And sidestep, not quite enough there as Carrier looks for the angle, doesn't find it.
อุ้ยเลนล่างก็ได้เลนกลางก็ได้
ตรงนี้โดนสปอร์ตด้วย
ไซรัสสปอร์ต แต่ว่ามันพอเหรอ
Now you've got Faker trying to move on in. Justice Punch does get interrupted by the Cyclone, and there's a petrifying gaze as Doran has to try and get out of there, but Lucid gets the extra range on the Q. And now Faker looking to try and turn this. Ona gets the pullback. My God, Ona's Zion is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, he's been putting the hours in for sure.
โอ้มาหน้าไม่พร้อมเลือดมาหน้าไม่พร้อมเว้ยโดรานฝืนเล่นอันเนี้ย
That was pretty impressive stuff.
คุณระวับลงมา
game here so far as we're going to see the TP back to lane from Carrier.
เอาเคเลียนี่ก่อน
We'll have his in a moment. Pulverized. So he can actually, well, he looked like he was going to back. He's actually instead going to try to kill Career.
And look at
โดรานตะกี้มาหน้าไม่พร้อมเล่นไม่ฝืน
Smash
เล่น
has
เกิน
in fighting this as he does just walk away. And Faker moves back to the lane. So about an 800 gold advantage here for T1. I think the mental warfare battle, T1 are so far ahead. It's
tempo
kind
vibes
of ridiculous.
Are definitely red in this game.
The thing is, I do think the compositions kind of favor DK.
Yeah, no, I do like this draft for DK a lot. And because yes, the Sylas can steal a lot of ultimates, but I don't know if there's enough damage in this for T1. And there's oodles of damage for D+, Peel for days, and this Gnar is significantly ahead of the Sylas. Surprise, surprise, because this matchup is incredibly difficult to play out for Sylas without jungle attention. There is some jungle attention coming, though.
Yeah, now there is jungle attention. Nice little hop does come on through. Sidestep, doesn't get pulled back. She's slick with it right
มี
now.
แฟดว้า
As we do have
ถ้า
the
นา
Varus
ไม่ได้ช็อต
rotating up
นี้โค
towards
ต
that
ร
top
แย่
side.
เสีย
Lucid
เสีย
taking
มั
that
ง
as
ก
an
ร
opportunity to get a Drake.
And that's a big rotation up of Pays, who doesn't have his role quest completed just yet.
Yeah, the
Smashes.
rotation up, like they did that in the B&K series as well, and it meant that Pays was incredibly far behind on the quest.
Yeah, also Pays in the game where they made the rotation up in game 1, he had his role quest completed. He does not have it here just yet, so this could backfire in a big way. As she was just going to be able to walk
แต่ว่ามัน
it off, it
เควส
looks
ยัง
like
ไม่เสร็จนะ
career. I
อัน
don't
นี้
know if we'll be
เฮ้ย
so
แคริเออร์
lucky.
5
Flashes over the wall. That is going to keep him alive. Oh, it doesn't have Hex Flash? What the heck? Feels wrong.
Doran's like, I've gone from one annoying range champion to another to play into in this game.
ไม่ไหวว่ะไซรัสไม่ท็อปเลนไม่เก่งเลย ถ้ามันเจอมอลไฟแม่งถึงจะดีสุดจริง แต่มันไม่มีใคร
does instead go for the all out.
He's running faster.
Sorry, on the hunt. And yes, like you were saying, he's running faster.
And he's going to slow down in a minute. He's no longer running faster. Okay. But he didn't die. They didn't go for the commit.
There you go. And so Doran is going to be able to make his way back home now if he would like to.
There's such a limit in my mind to what you can do when you're
ที่ว่า
playing
บน
lanes that are this
ตัวมันเล่นยากมาก
tough
เล
to
ย
play out. Like when you're this far behind as
Damage
the
ไม่พอ
Sylas, now the Sylas
มั
is
นบาง
swapped out. Pays' role quest gets put behind. And
เอา
so
จริงเลือก
he's
อ่อนไปข้างบนยังได้
also
นะ
not feeling happy about things. And then the Sivir is just chilling, finishing her role quest while she's hitting a Sylas in the bottom lane. And Doran is trying to get out of the hole. Finds himself going from 20 CS behind the Gnar to 30 CS behind the Gnar. And yes, there are gold leads here for T1 from the early game plays from Owner, but I wonder how they hold on to those to get this Varus through the mid game as he's got his Ghost Blade ready, right? He's going to look for his transformation in the mid game, hit that 2-item spike on this lethality champion. But there are there's so many ways to kill him in D+'s comp, and even if you're able to get the jump on Showmaker, for example, you got to kill Smash, you got to deal with Shiu. You only have one Sylas ult at this point in the game, early on, as Doran. Speaking of Doran.
Yeah, can he hop his way out of this one? This time doesn't get the extra bounce as the flash comes on in. Good knockback, Grim Deliverance. And
Wow.
the delivery is
Owner
death.
โคตรรวยแบกนะเนี่ย
Down goes Shiu this time, and yeah, Owner's really good at timing.
Owner is like, I'm sorry, Doran, this is why you have to play Sylas in the
Yeah, exactly. No, but he's like, if you do play it for me, I'll gank your lane. So don't you worry about it.
And he
แต่มัน
certainly
น่าเป็น
did.
ไซเบรกเกอร์ว่ะทีนิตี้พี่ว่าแม่งจับไม่ทัน
For
แก๊ง
Shiu,
เนี้ย
but it is severely diminished, and we almost
มัน
now
ต้อง
have
เป็น
a lead
ต้อง
across
เข้า
the
ทำ
board
ทุกอย่าง
here
เลย
on
อ่ะ
every
มันให้เพื่อนเปิด
position for T1 after
ไม่
that
ทัน
play. Smash does finish his role quest. As Shiu sidesteps the chains, which might have been a little bit of false confidence here as he gets baited in, going into Doran heavily here. And then this, it's like, oh no, the Gnar is coming, flash it, but still gets hit by the knockup.
Yeah.
And then the ult, and then he's dead.
Auto already in the air there for Owner, so beautifully done. We've got a bit of a tussle here, as Faker's going to be moving in first. Headbutt out, good Justice Punch though to avoid that, as now Smash is in a lot of trouble. The quickness comes on through, but Carrier is a long way away from
โอ้ได้อีกแล้วโอเนอร์
so is Lucid. And now Lucid is very, very
เฮ้ย
dead.
ที่วันนำ
So they
6-1
end up getting a kill onto the Wukong
ทุกอย่างดู
there.
ดีจัดอ่ะ
Nothing else happens. Smash actually just kind of chilling.
Yeah, Carrier is not going to be able to get in and stop the Sivir from going back. Trample is going to slow him down. They really wanted to get that Essence Reaver, and he can understand it, making sure that Smash
นำสวยมาก
has that item already built up.
So he finished his role quest, finished a cull, and he is, despite being 15 CS down, and all the plate money that went over to Pays is actually staying pretty even on this Sivir in this game.
Yep.
There's a lot of ifs in this game for T1 as Faker.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
That was about the angle that he dodged it on his Riven back in the day.
Oh.
Beautifully done. Even though he didn't really dodge it, he just didn't move.
T1 are, it feels like styling on D+ in a draft that's incredibly difficult to play.
I mean, I would say that I'd upgrade it to Owner is styling on D+.
Well, yeah, but I mean, Faker's making some great individual plays as well, right? And it's been them in the mid lane that have really put Showmaker into his grave, but okay, this might be a bridge too far.
Well, Lucid is going to smite him, and there is a dead Faker. So that is a lot of money
Faker
going
ตาย
over
อะไร
to
นี้
Lucid.
ไม่น่าเลยว่ะ
It's a good question, Atlas.
They deserved it. right? Because it was so close in the early game.
T1
like,
is certainly,
no, you know what? You deserve it.
They're certainly making it harder for themselves with the draft and some of these choices than it necessarily needs to be. But this was great, right? Okay, this was great. Gets behind him. Showmaker's a little greedy. Got the kill. We can cut the tape. We can cut the tape. We can cut the tape.
Yeah. He was just greeting for a plate. That happens. As now Doran is going to steal away an Unbreakable Will. And I don't think it's going to last long enough. He is level 11, so he gets a better one. He's 5 levels ahead of the support. Gotta love League of Legends in 2026. It's kind of just how it goes.
Now is flashless, and he may lose his turret. That's a huge wave. He does not have teleport. Rakan alone, I don't think, stops this Gnar push. They might be able to try to make something of it, but without that hijack, it's going to be tough. As
Yep, Showmaker's like, ow.
This is such a weird game in terms of lane assignment because the Sivir's still in the bottom lane, interacting with Faker.
Yeah, On the Hunt has been thrown out here, as Faker is just going to have to walk it off. The Drake is what's on the minds of D+ and T1 right now, as Ona already has it down to 34 health.
So they trade the Dragon.
คิดว่าชิ้น2โอเนอร์แต่ทำไมมันจนจังวะอ๋อเพราะวูคองเดี๋ยวนะวูคองได้ค่าเฟเกอร์ก็เลยเงินแบบอ๋อจากเงินตาม 1,200 เฟเกอร์มีชัดดาวน์ 260
Lucid is going to smite him, and there is a dead Faker. So that is a
700
What's on the minds of D+ and
คือ
T1 right now is Ona already has it down to 34 health.
So they trade the dragons here, one apiece. It's Infernal Soul again. But like I mentioned, that top turret is so dead.
เฟเกอร์ไม่ควรมีชัดดาวน์เลยนะเว้ย
Not going to necessarily die on this wave, but so much damage has been done.
เป็นไปได้ยังไงว่าชัดดาวน์ 260 ด้วย
And the bottom one as well. I mean, there's only one plate left in the bottom lane at the same time.
No matter how T1 try to run away from these lanes and get better setups, they just keep losing out slowly on the map. That's why despite a 7-2 kill score here,
ที่สาเหตุเล่นได้เพราะมันเข้ามันเก็บโคเซอร์ไม่ได้มันต้องซื้อไซเบเกอร์พี่คิดว่านะ
become a bigger and bigger problem. He also has a call that's going to cash in here, which will push his
ต้องไซเบเกอร์แบ็คเทเวอร์แล้วมันจะถึงจะวิ่งเร็วเว้ย
The turret gold he's probably going to get here pretty soon too. Lucid.
Yeah, look for a little bit of an angle towards Ona, who is just really wanting to fight that decoy. Does do so.
And even though Showmaker is 800 gold behind, he is a damage dealer in this game, and so
ต้องถ้ารวยขนาดนั้นต้องไซเบเกอร์แบล็คเทเวอร์แล้วก็เดดแดนแล้วค่อยแบบเอ็นเลดฮังเกอร์คือแบบสู้ได้หมดอะ
They are looking to set up for said fight. Korea's Flash and Ghost on this Alistar here for a potential Herald fight.
Let's see whether Lucid's just going to be able to start this one up, and we don't
ไม่
get
ทิ
a
นิตี้
fight.
พี่ว่าโอเคแล้ว
There's going to be a
ทิ
little
นิ
bit
ตี้
more
มันก็ไม่
cheeky little
เป็นไร
war.
แต่
Does
ชิ้น
give
2
T1 a lot of information.
ถ้าเป็นซันเดอร์มันจะไม่ดีอะ
As Faker getting to work on these
เพราะว่าซันเดอร์มันดี
bottom lane, as Showmaker
ในแง่ของการที่แบบอีกฝั่งแบบ
through the winds and gets
มัน
himself down there.
มัน
Will be able to
คือ
protect
ได้
that
ยืน
turret.
ลำอะ
So those single plates
มันจะดีมาก
that
อะ
are up in the side lanes for
แต่ถ้าไม่ได้
DK,
ลำ
see
มัน
whether they
ทำ
can
ไง
actually take them as teleport does bring the Silas into the
มัน
top
ต้องการ
lane.
เก็บโคเซอร์
Faker will have to start rotating up now if he wants to be able to join this fight with his ultimate. As they have
ไม่ยังไม่ไหลตอนนี้ก็แค่มีเฟเกอร์ตายขึ้นมาแต่เฟเกอร์ตายมันเสียชัดดาวน์ไปประมาณ7คือเสียเงิน700ให้กับลิง700ที่เท่ากับลิงไปตีป้อมคนเดียวระเบิดนะเว้ยอ๋อเข้าใจละช็อตเนี้ยทำให้โอนได้แต่ว่าคือซันเดอร์ด้วยเข้าใจละช็อตเนี้ยแล้วเพสตายเฟเกอร์ตาย
And so is Faker actually. It's taking a long time for him to go down, as she will finally find the hyper proc, and down goes the Galio. That Lucid waste no time, and they're going to put down the Rift Herald. Wolf, are you hearing it? Can you hear it?
I mean, I was going to say that might have just been the game-losing moment for T1. They had no right to fight the way they to fight that Herald with a setup they didn't have. Frankly, I was going to say with the setup they had, they didn't really have one. And obviously, with no teleport for the Galio, it takes Faker so long to get up there. Like, look at how this breaks out here. T1 are here first, technically, but Lucid has the angle here. Doran cannot join. The bolt comes through, and the Galio ult is so late here. The fight is practically already over. And where's the damage here for T1? Varus has used his buttons. And
Doran สู้ไม่ได้
My buttons are a right click or an A click. I'm going to do the damage. Faker's an isolate on the other side after his ult. Has no damage to offer here.
โดรานสู้นาไม่ได้นาไม่กลัวโดรานแบบไม่กลัวเลยไม่กลัวไซรัสเลย
Yes, they can. As he's going to get pulled back, Carrier moving over, Lucid not going to be able to help, and the snake goes down.
ช็อตเมื่อกี้ก็เข้าใจได้ว่ามันเป็นช็อตที่พอโอนเนอร์เห็นว่าแบบตัวเองโดนเปิดแบบนี้เล่นไม่ได้ก็เลยขึ้นเป็นซันเดอร์แล้วพอขึ้นซันเดอร์ปุ๊บก็คือระเบิดเลยเพราะไม่มีดาเมจแล้วก็ไม่มีอะไรที่ช่วยทำให้แก็บโฟเซอร์ได้
Smash is going to just throw some Beyblades and will otherwise not find too much on to carry.
โดรานมาจอยไฟช้ามากเลยเดินไปเจอนาตัดอีกมีคือถ้าเกิดมีโดรานเข้ามาในไฟไม่แก้น่าสู้ได้คือโดรานก็ปฏิวูคองแล้วปั่นช่วยส่วนโอนเนอร์ต้องเล่นยอมตายไปเลยเว้ย
He has an Executioner's Calling, which is insane high value into the Kingslayer. As Smash is just like, if they eventually don't come and defend this, I guess I'll just win the game. Yeah. And this is the problem here for T1. It's not that they didn't have a lead or anything like that, but it's if you lose one fight and you lose map control with these range champions into your heavily melee composition, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have big problems.You're going to really struggle to match rotations around the map.
คือปัญหามันคือทีวันมันแพ้ไฟไม่ได้เลยคอมเนี่ยไม่งั้นจะเจอตัวตีไกลแบบเก่งแล้วมีของแล้วสู้ไม่ได้
Damage threat because yes, Silas he could be a damage threat, but in this game we're just kind of still waiting for that. We're
ตรงกลางเสียดายว่ะมันน่าเป็นพวกวิกเตอร์มากกว่า
which is going to be some extra safety, maybe some extra power in an upcoming scrappy fight. T1 do have prio for this dragon at least for the moment.
แต่ถ้าเลือกวิกเตอร์อาจจะเจออากาลีมั้ง
See if T1 can make something happen here with this window they have.
Ooh, Smash actually finding a fair bit of damage onto Carrier, but he's able to get himself out.
Looks like the answer is
แล้ววัวแม่งเตะสายเห็นโคตรดีอะทอมแม่งไม่แบนวัวด้วย
make something happen. They've just conceded control. Doran doesn't have TP, so they may just try to slow this down and get a topside turret.
And Showmaker just completed his Seraphs as well, so he's pretty strong with these two items, pretty stacked up. 7 stacks on the Rod of Ages.And so this dragon DP should be going over to DK, as there is, like you say, the teleport coming on forward. Can they find a team fight though? As Grim Deliverance kind of avoided here by DK, but the quickness is so good. Smash does avoid it though. There is a decent petrifying gaze as the Cyclone's there from Lucid. Decoy buys a lot of space as Showmaker does not make it out. Finally, Carrier does fall.
That's
that
is
Sivir falling as well, and
it's
T1's turn to win a team fight.
T1 only lose Carrier here, and they will be able to take out this mid-turret. Dragon going over to D+ in the meanwhile, but the gold here feels really nice to pick up for T1. As Maze?
Yeah, guess what's on the map.
Fine.
Yeah, Korea is here. When there's Carrier and Korea in the game, it does make my brain kind of hurt. But Korea was there, and that meant that she was not under too much threat.That
flank from Doran pays off, and it was at a pretty.
แล้วโดรานมันขึ้นนาฬิกาก่อนด้วย
Is otherwise just trying to get that.
มันต้องขึ้นลิมเมเกอร์ว่ะพี่ว่าไม่งั้นสู้นาไม่ได้
Carrier's charm is massive, and then Doran in backline here with Faker on top as well means Lucid is completely out of the fight. Carrier is collapsed on the other side by Shiu, but he is just not really in this fight. You'll take that trade any day of the week. The damage threat's now down for D+, and it's an easy
ถ้าพี่ว่าเมื่อกี้มีสไตล์เบรกเกอร์น่าจะได้เยอะกว่า
take
นี้
that mid-turret
แทนซันเดอร์
and the gold has basically
ของ
reset to
โอ
0
เนอร์
now.
Yeah. So the only real thing that DK got was that dragon. Definitely a big boon.But T1 do let us know that they are absolutely not out of it yet. Shiu here towards his bottom side will actually be an absolute menace in side lanes on this Na, as does already have his Trinity Force done, but building towards the next few items will mean that these turrets are just going to kind of melt.
Faker does have, with the lead that he has, he does kind of do damage, right? He has a Rift Maker. He is not just straight up no damage Galio. Damage throughput is pretty low, but he does offer a lot in these scrappy fights if Doran gets even a little bit of CC, right? With a Gnar that's stolen away. If Carrier gets another charm like that, Faker's damage, the follow-up is actually pretty strong.
ไม่งั้นตัวสุดท้ายเล่นแบบมอร์กาน่าอะไรอย่างเงี้ยได้หรอ
with this draft, especially with the tier 3.
เอามอร์กาน่ามาแบบ
in his inventory.
เอาโลให้กับโอเนอร์
actually so huge in this game.
All right. Smash just asking Carrier to be careful. And Carrier probably should have listened. It's a fair bit of damage that he's starting to do here. Does have 2.5 items now complete. As T1 move on over, and they will be able to push Lucid out of their jungle. In the meantime, though, it is Shiu here in this side lane. Does know that Paze is coming over, who does blast his way back towards the mid lane as soon as he is spotted.
D Plus are just playing this style again where they have really good wave clear and they just push through mid and pull T1 around the map. And like the side lane power that Shiu has over Dorn this time around
เอาจริงรู้สึกว่าถ้าไซรัสเปลี่ยนเป็นเอาซาเฮนไปอยู่บนแล้วไซรัสเป็นคิงเด็ดแล้วเคเลียเป็นโซน่าน่าจะดีนะ
He's now even in levels with Faker, has had a lot of time inside as well despite being down 30 CS. He is eventually going to farm up and be a damage threat later. I feel like D Plus have really figured out how to, in these awkward positions in the game where T1 wins a fight, gets a little bit of punch back, reset, get back control of the map. It's often just straight up push through mid and respond in sides and make sure that T1 have to wrap around and have a numbers advantage. Then you back away, you get vision.
จริงๆไม่อยากดูเลยซ้ำปวดใจมากรู้สึกว่าปวดใจมากแต่ว่าเราก็อยากดูไงก็อยากดูว่ามันเป็นยังไงแต่มันดันแบบปวดใจแล้วอะ
But so is Shiu, so there's some paperweights on both sides.
Yeah, and that's why everything is still very, very even, as the miasma, very annoying for Keria. So it doesn't matter how far behind Showmaker is, he will have value in this game. As Lucid looking to try and turn this, and Smash is there, on the hunt is popped, and Ona has to grim deliver himself away from the situation. So that his ulti's traded, but you'd probably say that it was a bit of a trade up there for DK as she buys some space in the side lane and just gnaws away Doran because you may as well.
When you have trades that win like that and owner doesn't have his ult anymore, you're like, well, we got the range champions. You guys really don't. So I'm going to start putting deep vision into your jungle. I'm going to let this Sivir rip through another wave in the mid lane. I'm going to let this Gnar push.
Well, chains are not going to connect, but the Gnar does. Shiu does have a blast cone as well, and so he can use that to get himself out of there. Sorry, Valdez. The disengage cone is just perfect. But the one thing I wanted to say, Wolf, is that it's T1, and this comp has no Baron damage. It's just kind of abysmal at doing exactly what T1 wants to do every game.
It really doesn't. And you can see that, yes, they were able to get Shiu's flash there, and he blast cones away, but that meant that Showmaker got an extra wave on the top side, right? Like, there's a push and pull to how D Plus play through this Sivir in the mid lane. Sivir now on 3 items, going to have much more damage output, much more consistent damage output than the Varus in fights, especially in the melees, where the ricochet value is going to be insanely high. I favor the position here of D Plus right now, especially because it's now Soul Point that's on the cards for them. They're going to get a TP out of Doran here. T1 have to rush over, the timing is pretty thin.
มันก็แล้วตรงนี้เคเลียโดนคอสก่อนแล้วมารไม่เคยทันมังกรคือไม่ได้สู้มังกรสักรอบได้แต่เนื้อวัวอะไรก็ไม่รู้
question as Shiu, maybe the answer is no. As Showmaker trying to offer some damage back, the chains go wide, but Ona finds his, and Shiu is just going to fall. Steric's not enough, and so it is 2 in trade for Soul Point.
So T1 get the gold lead again, but D Plus get the permanent stats, and they also now have the threat of an Infernal Soul. And if this comp was a comp that could do Baron, you wouldn't be talking about the gold, you'd be talking about the dead top laner and how a Baron could be possible. It's really tricky to pull this off as T1, but Shiu also does not have teleport, so even though he's going to be in 30 seconds here, even if D Plus slows down, he can't get here without walking, and T1 are going to make that call. It's a tough one, but if they pilot this well, the Alistar ult in tow.
ช้าจนแบบล้านตีคอลเลคชั่นไปแบบไม่ดีว่ะ
Doran looks for the angle once again, but doesn't find it. Petrifying Gaze doesn't hit much, as there is a heroic entrance from Faker to try and get out, but it's Iron that falls down first. The Cyclone so good from Lucid, but he's still going to fall, and Doran is doing crazy things in the back line.
4-5 แพ้
to buy a little bit of time before he inevitably does fall down, and Showmaker's Conqueror is getting so much value in this fight. It's absolutely ridiculous. Faker has to flash to get himself over that wall, but Korea's going in once again because somehow he has ulti back off cooldown. Smash grabs another kill as the gargoyle falls, and the bane of T1 is the Baron this time around.
I think T1 had the same read on the game state that we did. This game was really slipping out of their hands, and they needed to make an aggressive call with no Gnar there. But the setup was so good for D+. And look, they get the dragon here. Keria is in this tussle. They're able to collapse on and kill Shiu. But the question is it all worth it here with how much is gained on this dragon? I think T1 decided it's not enough for us. I want to go for Baron after this. Showmaker tries to peel here, does a lot of damage, right? But there's nothing they can do. Shiu is going to go down without flash in this scenario in every single case. But what happens next here is, look where Showmaker is. He has ult, he has flash, he could be such a big threat. They have to somehow zone him away. As in live, we are seeing D+ group here, but look, they
เสียดายนะตรงเนี้ยวาลัสเมียติเนี่ยคือพอเฟกเกอร์เข้าไปจับปุ๊บอะแล้วเชนของรัชชั่นเพื่อนตีต่อที่ว่าแม่งชนะไฟโชว์เมเกอร์ตายอันนี้มันเป็นโชว์เมเกอร์กับสแมชมันเลยแบบไม่ไหวเว้ย
And Showmaker, you mentioned the Conqueror value. There's just not any damage anymore once his Varus is gone, whereas Smash and Showmaker are laughing all the way to the bank. Career makes the call to go in knowing there is just not going to be enough to trade and push them back. So D+ end up winning a huge fight here post-Dragon. They're on Infernal Soul Point. That next Dragon spawns in 2 minutes. Smash has the IE.
Oh god.
And this gold lead here for D+, again, it's small, but comp-wise, I really still favor them. GA's now done for Lucid.
Yeah, and if you're looking down the line at champions that are better later on in the game, Alistair pretty high up there. The Sivir pretty high up there. Wukong, massive value. Nara in side lanes, especially with good Narbar control, can join team fights and also be fantastic. He's almost got towards that wit's end at the same time. And that'll mean that even into a Galio or a Silas, he is very happy in those side lanes. So I do think that as this game goes on, it's going to get harder and harder for T1 with the amount of DPS that DK represent. And like you were saying this whole time, T1 have a melee composition. They're into a Cassiopeia.
And also a ricocheting level 16 Sivir that has
4 items.
An IE completed. Very scary, very terrifying. And they actually do have the Baron damage, in fact. And now they also have map control. So you have to play around the fact that D+ could do a Baron really quickly. They could also do a Dragon very quickly. And have Infernal Soul permanently for the rest of the game. They have a turret lead over you as well. And with this Gnar inside controlling Doran, it's up a whole level right now.
คือถ้าไฟบาลอนนั้นน่ะกักไว้หน่อยแบบใจล่มๆแล้วบาลอนให้เสร็จก็ยังได้แล้วค่อยแบบค่อยคิดวิธีเล่นต่อน่าดีกว่าคือดีเคมันเข้าไปแย่ว่าเฮ้ยกูจะเข้าไปแย่งนะแล้วที่ว่าเฮ้ยไฟก่อนปุ๊บว่าไฟก่อนปุ๊บอะมันก็ต้องออกจากบาลอนพอออกจากบาลอนปุ๊บดีเคแม่งถอยเลยแล้วพอถอยปุ๊บมันก็จะจับกูของจับไม่ได้จับคือพี่ว่าเชนคอร์รัปชันไปเชนคอร์รัปชันไปพวกมันก็ไม่ตายหรอกโดนอันติวารัสก็ไม่น่าตายมันน่าจะไม่ตายนะนอกจากแบบโดนลานจะอีแฟตแบบสวยๆเลย
And here in this game number 4,
คือช็อตบาลอนเมื่อกี้ถ้าเกิดได้บาลอนแล้วชนะอันนี้แล้วเฟกเกอร์โดนจับตายเสียมังกรหลอกแบบมือนี่เฟกเกอร์ก็เล่นมือด้วย
as well as be able to take another Infernal Soul this game. That was a huge moment and I think a big turning point in this. As DK 2,000 gold lead in Infernal Soul, that is massive advantages.
How much of a momentum swing could you really like to look at the series, especially with everything you've been saying about D+, which I think most people, especially D+ fans, will accept to be true, is that momentum is so important for this team to go down 0-2 against T1.
ไอ้ช็อตบาลอนเมื่อกี้คือช็อตที่จะทำให้ชนะได้แต่ว่า
win game 3, stomp the control of the mid game here in game 4. Again, it's not over, but they have Infernal Soul in their pocket again here. To have this big momentum swing, potentially to be able to set up the reverse sweep, is kind of insane. We all, I think, expected that T1, I believe there was not even a single BNK predictor, right? We all expected T1 would be locked in for Hong Kong already. And then I think, again, we all expected that would be the case today as well. And now, D+ are changing the narrative. Pretty insane. Even with Showmaker sitting 2,000 gold behind Faker, 0-5 Cassiopeia, they have the damage. They have sustained damage. T1 have melee, and they just cannot get map control back to save their lives here, and it could be what they need to see for tournament-wise. And there's another game to be played after this if D+ closes this out, but momentum has certainly turned. The tides have shifted.
Yeah. Well, let's see whether that can continue to be the case, because we all know that it's not over until it's over. Showmaker may get delivered some of that information. We know there are some sneaky T1 players hiding in this brush. Showmaker not wanting to walk too close to it.
ที่ว่าถ้าโอนเนอร์เล่นไซรานแล้วได้80มันจะพิกกว่านี้ไหม
They don't know the rest of
คิด
D
ว่าน่า
Plus
จะ
so
เยอะ
it's hard for them
น่า
to
จะมี
collapse
อิมแพคมากก
here.
ว่านี้
But it looks like DK are going to look to try and start this fight off themselves as Carrier tries to hold
เคส
themselves
ก็เลย
in
ตีใส่
position
อา
but
ริ
the
สตา
rogue
แม่งไปเลย
entrance only onto Lucid and he doesn't really
ก็
care.
จบกับดาเมจที่แม่งขาดอยู่แล้ว พอเป็นอย่างนี้ก็ยิ่งหนักเลย
Grim Deliverance doesn't do much.
โอเนอร์โดนบาลอนตีตาย
on D plus this time as it takes down the Zahan and now Doran tries to do it against Smash but the flash is too good and now it's pays against the world and unfortunately the world hits back this time.
And you know what, Atlas? You can make those super sound effects because we are going to 5.
Oh my goodness, DK, the one team that I did not think that would be capable to set up a reverse sweep, and they have done it. Nexus turrets in their sights, and they will bring us to a game 5 and look to see whether they can stamp a
โอ้ย
ticket
หน้า
to
โอเนอร์
Hong
อย่าง
Kong.
เครียดอ่ะ
Absolute
อ๋อ
insanity. And the greed in the drafts from T1, we called it out in game 1.
แล้ว
We were
ก็
like,
เป็น
this Yumi
เกม
draft,
5 ครับ
T1
ผม
And
would be absurd, and they will do it.
oh my, well,
Or again.
โอเคมาดูเกมที่ 5 นะครับ
someone wants to play Cannon.
I think
ดู
so.
ดับเกมที่
At least keeping the opportunity open here.
5 ที่ค
So
งแบ
what's
น
this
บา
final
ท
man
น็อก
going
เทิ
to
ล
be? You just banned the Callista. Didn't do last time.
Aurora was what they
แบ
banned
น
in the
โซ
last
อี้
game.
วายแล้วก็
they might,
จริงๆอ่ะไม่ต้องแบน
you know,
วายก็ได้เลือก
Six
วาย
was
เอง
banned in the last game
And
as
the
well.
Aurora again.
ทำไมเนาะ
So that one is going to go.
เพื่อ
But
พิ
now
กา
what is
เท
the
เร
first thing? What did T1 want to get?
Yeah, this
for
is the
themselves?
question that I don't want to even speculate about. I want to see what T1 thinks is the call here. First pick Cannon would be absurd, and they will do it.
Oh my God!
Mm.
They
Okay.
will do it.
They're like, the cannon counters are gone. And we will pick them up. Let's see what she wants to do, though, because we can see he's not exactly too unhappy about the whole
เลือกเคนเล่น
scenario.
เฟิร์สพิก
Well, he has been known to play a lot of ranged tops, but the Aurora is gone, the Rise is gone, the Gnar is gone, the Yorick is gone.
To the cannon,
แล้ว
of
ก็เลย
course,
หยิบ
because
เกวน
you don't have
Could be pretty high up in the stocks here if you can draft around it with the Gwen in the top lane, and put the real
ดี
push
โก้
on to career. But this is what you can do at blue side where
show us your Draven.
พาลิสตาเลอนาต้า
Show us your Draven.
they could also just try to play the Corki. I mean, the Corki is still your
Stages played more champions competitively than any other player on the
Yone
planet.
is a good ban here.
Yep.
I do think that
Let me
that's
put
one of the
two
other
man.
setups you could have for the MF, and one that Faker is just not that interested in playing, frankly, in a draft like this. Now, do you ban like an Aurelian Soul? Like, what sort of other scaling damage are you really worried about here? I think the Victor was the biggest problem
ดีฟอร์จูน
that
ไม่
they
ใช่ใคร
had to
สาม
solve for. And if there's a jungle pick that they know owners been playing that they've run into, they could ban that as well. The Trundle is going to be what they opt for, which
ผม
doesn't
อยาก
tell
ได้
us
แบบ
a whole
เดิ
lot
น
just
เร็วๆหนี
yet.
คาลิส
I
ตา
do
เหรอ
really like the Trundle, though. And you also
Ben
can
Akali.
allow yourself to play double AD carry if you want to. Maokai
ไม่
Tristana
มี
is
ใคร
being
รัด
very
แล้วก็เลยเลือก
I
เมาใคร
don't want to get too hung up on the smolder, but I think it actually can work
Yep,
here.
another decent option.
If you trust that you can survive and play through that Gwen side lane, the Anivia is the scaling damage that's here. That's not the Victor for Faker, and a lot of zone power here, and it works incredibly well if you can control bottom side with that Callista Renata lane.
The problem is it's pretty short range.
Yeah.
And
คือ
you're
แอน
kind
นิ
of
เวีย
at the mercy.
เคน
Obviously, this
เน่น
has to be a
มัน
blind
เข้าไป
pick
ยังไง
here
วะ
for
เนี่ย
Faker.
ฟัก
So, is the Anivia the choice? And if so, what is the punishment going to be out of Showmaker here? As it is going to be locked in. And now, what is Owner going to be playing in the jungle? It needs to be a fair bit of physical damage, I could imagine. You don't really want just solo Callista as, wow.
Talon,
Those
is
are some
something I
choices.
thought about, but doesn't really have CC. You're so reliant on the Kennen and the Anivia setup here. And you're also playing into Maokai. Aatrox makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah.
Although it's still going to struggle into the Maokai. Like, any position can get
แล้วเจอ
crazy
ทริสตา
explosive
น่า
really fast. There is a lot of side lane power in both the Gwen and the Tristana here for D+.
And the thing is, I love Tristana for so many reasons in this draft. Because you've got a Kennen that you're worried about. And so what does Buster Shot do? It just solves the cannon problem in one fell swoop. And so it's going to be so hard for Doran to find the
ทำไม
value
ฝั่งซ้ายแบบ DK มันตัวมันดูเล่นง่ายกว่าเยอะเลยวะ
It also has a pretty fun matchup into the Anivia. You can avoid the wall entirely with your rocket jump.
คือแบบ
You can if you have
เมา
any
คาย
sort
ไป
of
กับ
CC
เกวน
set up
เล่น
by
กัน
the
2 คนได้
Valkyrie,
เคนเล่นกับ
run away
เอ
with
ท็อก
with
ไปเจอ
scrappy
2 ตัวนี้ก็
fighting
สู้ลำบาก
skirmishes. And if you end up, for example, the Aatrox gets caught by the mouse to even.
And Honor can, as long as he's on this
ไม่เข้าใจ
gem,
เหมือน
he
กัน
can make magic happen. Let's see whether he can as we get into the rift for game 5. One of the times where you are a little bit sad that Faker never uses skins, because I think base Anivia is probably one of the worst.
Well, it's
because there's so many great Anivia skins.
Sometimes though, you got to remind people how long you've been playing the game.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes that old blocky Nintendo 64 Anivia is just the world needs to see.
แล้วเอายิกไนมาด้วยไงโดราน
Like character remakes as well. So like if you pick Tarek, you could actually choose the pizza feat if you wanted to.
I would love that. I'm a
ไปเวท
big
ก่อน
fan
นี่
of
ว่า
that concept.
Yeah, I know. You are a little bit of an
แต่
old
เมาใคร
school
เห็นแล้ว
gamer.
Yes.
As we know. He's
Finally,
a nostalgia addict, you could say.
Finally beat Dark Souls 3 last night.
Nice work.
It's hard with the.
How many
trial.
years too late is that?
I think probably like at least 9.
Not bad. You know, could have been over the 2 digits. I think you've nailed it. That's beautifully done. As Showmaker is going to jump in on top of Faker, he will take an entire explosive charge. Not feel too psyched about the whole situation here, but he's got a full wave to eat. And I think the Anivia should at least be able to
ผม
keep
ว่า
up
เซรี
the
ยูมิ
farm.
ไม่ควรอยู่กับอาเซียเฟเกอร์แยกกันน่าชนะได้เกม
to also allow Lucid to get very aggressive in the jungle, starting with the raptor camp of Owner here right away. Owner is also on the bottom side of that, playing through the bottom side Prio, helping to generate.
แต่มันอาจจะเป็นแพ้2 เกมมาดิ
Dick actually got the read this time
อันนั้น
around.
อาจจะ
It was
ได้1 เกม
Lucid
ไง
that did this on the Aatrox
ที่ว่าดับทอมตามไม่ทัน
Faker is taking a lot of damage, but Owner is going to
คือ
come
ตาม
out
เม
of
ตา
the
ไม่ทัน
jungle. That's a
แต่จริงไม่เชิง
flash
เม
from
ตาหรอก
Showmaker.
โชเมเกอร์แกแบบ
And now he's just really dead. Oh, he gets the egg. There you go.
Okay. I'm not sure if Faker should have allowed that.
But also, like, look at Showmaker's face. He's like, you saw nothing, guys.
Yes,
because that flash was crazy.
All right, now on the other side of things, this is what I was going to say. With the pathing of Lucid, it also punishes the Kennen lane here if he can get over in time. There's a ward, and because he wasn't actually able to clear fast enough to come over here before Owner obviously could come and look for a potential punish in this slower gank that would have to eventuate. He can't actually commit further. That's where I had my eyes. Before we saw the all-in there from Showmaker, which was well played, but now Faker has flash advantage and only is down an egg.
Yeah, there is also the fact that Red actually didn't get taken. So it should be a 3-buff start here for Owner as well, which is fantastic as we see this once again. Flash for us there to stun up Faker's, Showmaker, but I don't know about the flash. You know, he did at least manage to get the egg.
จริงๆคิดว่าเฟเกอร์ไม่น่าตายเลย
He didn't get the flash. So
แล้วก็โอเนอร์ไม่น่าอีเลย แค่คิวเฉยๆก็ตายแล้วนะ
got a dark seal on a tier. So, you know, you could continue to try to push your advantage here. It's not the end of the world. It's not like, oh, Tristana died, so that's the end of that. But, yeah, not going to have as much power as he would have otherwise liked to. And in this bottom lane, we'll see how much career can hit, because that's really the determining factor as whether Smash and career can actually fight back into this Kalista lane.
And they at least do have a lane that can be pretty powerful in the early stages. MF Nico is not bad at all. But Pays and Carrier, we know what they can do, and it's about the all-ins once level 6 hits. You know, it's like when you can find hostile takeover angles, when Carrier can play completely off-the-wall aggressive because he's got Fate's Call available. That's when things get really frightening.
And Pop Blossom into bullet time and stuff like that also obviously incredibly powerful if you can set up. I think a little bit trickier to pull off than, you know, looking for a handshake play that can otherwise be non-committal but feel very safe because of the Fate's Call. And for team fights and scrappy things like that we will see start to happen when this first dragon spawns and elsewise post 6, that's where the combos are really going to be actually real. As you know, you don't have to necessarily hit the enemy support who has Fate's Call, but maybe you hit Faker or maybe you hit Owner, you know, and catch him off guard and end up securing objectives. Speaking of objectives, I don't think Lucid's getting much right now.
Q3 โดนนี่แม่ง
Smash does push Owner away, plus 10
Owner
damage,
น่าจะ
by
แบ
the
บ
way,
มี
everyone.
แฟลชสู้อะ
As Owner he has flash, might be able to force flash out of Lucid, but decides not to. He is just going to enter the enemy jungle, which is right now pretty empty.
All right, things slow down for a minute. Owner is going to check ward here. We'll see the control ward. Still will come over here to annoy Shiu and clear it.
Yep.
Doran went for Ignite, so there's a lot of extra pressure there.
Owie. Showmaker taking so much damage.
So close to 6, but just not
เฟ
there.
เกอร์แกแบบแอนนิเวีย
And
แกใช้
that
ส
could
กิน
have
แบบ
actually been
ปกติเลย
with the Buster shot. As Doran now with control of this wave, he will have control. But as you can see, she was actually doing just fine. Finally, level 6 is picked up.
นกมันขัด
We know
กำแพงนกมันขัด ไม่น่าได้นะ
especially later on. But even here in the lane, threatening Faker is going to be a big deal. And also for safety as Needlework comes out, Doran trying to get out of here. Does have the flash available, but snip, snip, and the stun. So she was going to have to get out of there. Thankfully, the turret didn't get too mad at him. As Doran, still with the Ignite in hand.
ตัวลานแพ้เลนข้างบนอีกแล้ว
Teleport either, but is going to be able to stay in this lane. TP, speaking of, going out for Showmaker here as T1 try to take this
เอาอีกไนท์มาแล้วแบบโดนแบบเมื่อกี้คือแบบถือว่าแพ้
There's just no real way to close the gap for D+. Showmaker's TP obviously is too lane, isn't going to get him there any faster, and they didn't have bottom side prio, nor do they have those critical ults for the skirmishes. We were just discussing to come over there and kind of try to cheat their way into a dragon contest. So that is going to be first dragon over to T1. Crazy we could have another Infernal Soul here with Chemtech as the second.
That would be crazy.
It's starting to get a little boring. Like, I usually am a big fan of Infernal, but
maybe it's a cloud.
จริงมันเป็นตัวโซนที่ดีอะ
I feel like T1 series almost always has a
เขา
cloud soul
คือ
in it.
พี่
So I think we're kind of due.
อันนี้รวมจาก
So next, it's not
ที่
going
สั
to
ม
be
ภาษณ์
any
ด้วย
of
นะ
the
ก็
tech
คือ
dragons.
แอนนิเวียเนี่ยมันจะโซนมันควรจะโซนให้เอทอกกับคาริสตาได้บาลอนได้มังกร
At least it's not going to be Chemtech. So
แล้วเคนเนนก็มารอแบบ
guaranteed, but
ถ้า
also
เขาแบบ
paying
โซนไม่ได้จริง
attention.
เคนเนน
And
มาช่วย
Game 5,
ไฟท์หนึ่งกับ
DK
เลนาต้า
He's probably going to be paying attention in a
แต่ใน
series
ความ
like
เป็น
this.
จริงแม่ง
As Lucid
ไม่เป็น
still
อย่างนั้น
has
นะดิ
small Raptors, feeling good about that one.
เวนมัน
Faker
เข้า
gives
มาเลย
Showmaker
ปะ
the good old thumbs up.
เมาใครก็ยืนแย่งได้อะไรอย่าง
this
เงี้ย
is a Maokai with ult.
Yeah, there is the nature grasping, gets the flash out of Faker, and just keeps walking.
And they know that Owner is likely nearby, so he's not going to commit any further here. Takes a
เอา
lot
จ
of
ริงว่าเมื่อกี้
damage.
พี่ว่าไม่น่าแฟร์ก็น่ายอมตายไป
Gonna
เดินมัน
be
ไกล
able to
มา
get over this wall, and Faker going to stop him from having a good time. I believe did not have too much frost on the Maokai. And Lucid is able to get that smite very, very quickly. Carry a nice handshake onto Korea there, who does get the snare onto Pace. My God, that damage.
That damage was pretty unreal.
Yeah. Wow.
แล้วเพชร
Okay.
And
That's a BF sword back, by the way.
แค่จะต่อเฉยๆมันโดนไปเยอะเลย
Carrier could have been Fate's Call. There's now Showmaker's is going to go in again.
Yeah.
Faker still has a little bit of mana. This is somewhat risky.
So, Buster Shot is available here. Showmaker decides not to use it. Egg available there for Faker, so he can play a little bit more
เฟเกอร์
aggressively.
กับโซโล่คลิวครับ
Meanwhile,
เมื่อกี้
here towards the bottom side, they desperately want to get that plate. They're unable to do so. That is just prepared for them for next time.
Yeah. We've had so many near successes here for D+ in this game. Have not eventuated in anything big or real just yet. It's T1 picking up these small leads. It's the MF lead in CS, though, that is really the one that you're holding on to, and it's going to even have a little bit of extra plate money on top of it here with this extra hit on the on the bottom turret.
Yep.
And in the top lane, you know, this Gwen is doing really well so far into this cannon pick here for Doran. So that's a big boon here for D+, because if your Gwen falls too far behind to be a threat in sides, it really hurts your game plan heading to mid game and beyond.
I feel like Shiu has really exceeded my expectations in this matchup. Obviously, it was a blind cannon, so Shiu feels confident in this matchup regardless, but I didn't know that this early on it would be going this well. So that's fantastic. Does have his Boots of Lucidity already completed. Wanted to make sure that he has as much movement speed up here, but also getting as much ability haste as he can find.
He also loves his jungler Lucid, so...
True. And he also likes having flash available, which I imagine is something that you would like. All right, Showmaker is once again going to have to deal with that Glacial Storm as Shiu Doesn't quite find the needlework this time.
Kind of a scary moment there for Doran if he wants to try to go back in with the Maokai so close by. T1 gonna try to look for something here on the bottom side, I suppose, but Faker just gonna leave, and I think that'll probably be the end of the aggression. A lot of pings going down here. Yeah, they are aware that Pays and Carrier are otherwise missing here. There just isn't really anywhere for them to go, so handled it well, and now this Gwen has 3 grubs, so that's very good for D+. Also, the Tristana has 3 grubs, so side lane win cons I was talking about before, very strong here for D+, now significantly
แต่
empowered.
DK ดับไซเลนเก่ง
And
ตลอด
actually, is these
ต้อง
the
แบบ
first
ส่วนใหญ่
grubs
จะ
that
ไม่
D+
ค่อย
have
เป็น
been
ไซ
able to
เลน
take
ที่
so
แบ
far
บ
this series? Sort of
ยอม
feels
แพ้
like to me is now Doran maybe in trouble. The nature is grasping as Shiu gets stunned up. Does he have the snips? The answer is yes. Lucid going to be the one to lock down that kill, as now we are one apiece between these two teams in game 5. And DK getting the money where they want it. Although I guess Lucid getting the kill is not great, but Shiu getting any sort of advantage is exactly what D+ want.
โดนไปแล้วครับโดราน
Who would have thought that this Hey used to great effect against T1 last time? It's Lucid playing it now with Chronicler watching on as an ex-LCK commentator who was very critical of Lucid's Maokai throughout the early days of his career, but
คือเฟสแรกเขาดับเคนเน่น
in this game.
แล้วก็เลนาต้าคาริสตาไปแล้วมันเลยแบบเปลี่ยนเอทอกเป็นแบบไซล่าไม่ได้ตรงกลางมันไม่เหลือตัวอะไรให้เล่นแล้วอะกาลิโอมันไปแล้วอะ
He drops his ultimate here. Shiu has to flash because he's in turret range. Doran plays this actually really well. He does not quite have enough damage even with the ignite.
Yeah, didn't quite get that. But still, that is a fair bit invested. We'll see whether there is sort of a turnaround game or something like that. But right now you can see this dragon is getting started up, and it looks like D+ are not going to contest it. Lucid up here towards the top side of the map, and so Chemtech Dragon going to be picked up here by T1.
The argument,
give me the cloud. Give me the cloud. Mountain. Okay.
Mountain. Okay. The argument for not going for the contest here for D+ is just that they think they're going to have a little bit more scaling range damage here with this Tristana later on. They don't want to fight into this Kalista early, especially without setup there on the bottom side of the map. So they instead just index through top side.
Well, needlework comes out yet again. It just kills him.
Oh my god. Oh my god, โดรานโดนโซโล่คิว
With this Tristana later on, they don't want to fight into this Kalista early, especially without setup there on the bottom side of the map. So they instead just index through top side.
Well, needlework comes out yet again. It just kills him. Solo for Shiu, and the entirety of this side of Wallpopper on the D+ side just erupted in the Shiu chant. That was very cool.
Very cool indeed. And that's 2 deaths for Doran on this Kennen. The last time he played Kennen, he had a great game on it. This is not
ไม่ละขึ้นของ
the
ไม่ซื้อร
same
องเท้า
type of
ด้วย
scenario
แล้วเป็น
here
มาซื้อรอง
as he
เท้า
has
ลดคู
this
ดาวก่อน
counter pick to the Gwen. Fell behind and now gets solo killed. And with 3 grubs working on this turret, it's an extra plate going over to Shiu as well. He finds himself 1,000 gold ahead. As I'll watch this again, goes in on the cannon, even though he's stunned, gets the fully stacked Q, drops the ult out, hits it twice, and 3rd time's the charm.
That was beautifully played. And looking very cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah, not getting too excited about it, knowing there's a lot of League of Legends left to play here in this game, but...
Oh yeah.
สุดท้ายได้การเบรดมาก็สู้ไม่ได้อยู่ดี
Showmaker going to get comboed here by Faker. Finds the stun there as well. And that is a lot of damage out of this Anivia. And Faker still without an item built up just yet. Same can be said for Showmaker at the moment, but he's just wanting to clear out waves and draw beads and things like that.
Indeed.
As that drawer bead is the name of Tristana's passive. Yeah. I feel like I haven't actually explained that in a very long time.
Although I was kind of thinking about
confused.
abacuses for some reason when you said that. I was like, yeah, he's going to get a lot of money. He's going to calculate, like, I have 3 grubs, so how much turret gold can I get later?
Yes, in the lore, Tristana is
เพราะว่าไม่มี
actually
รองเท้าเว้ยเกวนก็ขึ้นรองเท้ามาทันทีเลยโดรานขึ้นแบบมันกลับบ้านมันได้900ด้วยแหละก็เลยไม่อยากขึ้นมือแต่ถ้าเกิดมาถึงแล้วขึ้นรองเท้าแบบเมิร์กเพจก่อนอะเล่นไปก่อนอะเล่นแบบซึนๆไปก่อนอะหรือไม่ก็รองเท้าอันนึงสักคู่อะเราค่อยกันเบสที่ว่าแจ่มกว่าเยอะเลยเพราะมันต้องเดินตีเกวนด้วยแล้วต้องหนีเกวนแบบมันเจอเกวนมันต้องเกวนมันกระโดดเข้ามาได้
Well, right now, Shiu is playing very respectfully.
เล่นล่างหายหมด
So Carrier not exactly with a lot of opportunity.
มีปัญหาแล้วก็มาหาฟิวตลอด
out though. I think she was like, all right, I waited long enough.
Oh, in he goes. There's the slicing maelstrom. The needlework comes out yet again. Fate's call not doing a whole lot as he's looking to try and wipe out Doran, but he's not able to do so. That is the punish, and T1 are looking to continue pushing.
Yeah, and Faker just goes straight to the bottom lane here. Now Smash is going to get some extra gold in mid. There's a bit of a hole there.
Triple grubs.
Yeah, it's pretty big damage, and it's going to be a Kennen TP to answer as Doran finishes his role quest here. And Pays should be able to get out no problem.
Okay.
And I guess it's just going to be a trade of plates here, now even on kills.
And T1 with a little bit of a gold advantage.
That was a really cool play from T1. They played it very patiently. They knew that Faker was going to be able to head to the bottom lane. They weren't going to lose too much for this with Doran being able to TP to catch mid. As yes, some money does go over to the MF, but I think this is a great way to turn things around in the top side and keep Doran relevant.
And in this game, T1 leaning on Faker. And I think if anyone's to have a lead in a game 5 for T1, Faker is a pretty good option if you're a T1 fan.
Yeah, a 40 CS advantage as well in his wheelhouse, or this is not quite the wheelhouse situation.
What is a wheelhouse again?
In his Mao house.
Yeah, that's right. It was Mao's house with wheels, but his name is Mao House, isn't it? I got it a little bit confused about the whole wheelhouse thing. That's a Valdez and well, the Tridans can actually let us know exactly what's going on. Maybe I'll ask in the Pog State or something like that. Tune in to the next episode of the Pog State if you want to know about the wheelhouse conversation once more.
สวัสดีครับพี่กิฟต์ดร.เซ็งย้อนเวลาเหรอครับทำไมพี่มาดูแข่งดูแข่งย้อนหลังครับ
Thinking he can make a similar play to what Carrier just did, but there's a lot of deep vision. He cannot quite actually sneak his way over here to try to set a trap. Will be seen.
Rift Herald is just taken, so that is another tool that D+ can use. I'm just not sure. Like, there is the whole scaling conversation that we need to have. There's not a massive amount of range on T1 at the end of the game. Like, Tristana is going to be hitting from really far away. Side lane's going to be really hard to deal with this Gwen. And Maokai is always incredibly high value with that Nature's Grasp. But like the pace scenario this time around, T1 has got a lot of CC and sort of control, like zone control with the Anivia and the Kennen.
The Anivia lead doesn't mean that much when you're like, well, I've got a 1 stack on my Rod of Ages, and I have my upgraded boots and a Dark Seal, and a fully stacked tier.
Yeah.
Whereas the Tristana is like, well, I still have a Kraken Slayer. I kind of actually can do a lot of damage in skirmishes and team fights, and I still kill turrets very quickly. So the lead doesn't matter that much right now, but if Faker gets a lot of extra time, like he just got that full topside turret, then he's going to be a huge damage threat later on. So D+ need to make something happen before that in this game. As we are going to have a bit of a scrap here, TP from Faker. This is going to be a sole point for T1 if they can secure this, and they will now have that zoning Anivia here.
I do think the D+ definitely need to fight for this one.
Absolutely.
They do have Lucid in position.
นี่ไง
He
ตรงเนี้
throws
ย
down the
ให้
Rift
อนิเวีย
Let's see whether he throws down the ulti here as well.
ค่อยๆโซน
As let's see how this one goes. There it is. Pop Blossom is going to be pushed away with the handshake, but Lucid gets in.
แต่แย่ง
Steals away the dragon,
มังกร
and
ได้
now
อะ
Honor
ลู
is
ซิ
trying
ด
to get himself out. Shu running amok right in the middle of the fight, and the twisted advance, the bullet time, the combo from D+ is too good, and Shu gets those scissors out and makes them
คือเคนไม่ได้ไปอยู่ในตำแหน่งที่ควรจะอยู่อะ
It's a triple for the Gwen.
คือโดราไม่ได้อยู่ในตำแหน่งที่มันควรจะอยู่เว้ย
Two on the floor for D+ as well, but they get the steal and they win the fight.
They win.
เดี๋ยวดูใหม่
Well, Lucid in
เนี่ยตรงเนี้ยโดราต้องอ้อมไปด้านบนเว้ย
position. He throws down the rift.
อ๋อเพราะว่าจะการโชว์เมเกอร์เว้ย
Let's see whether he throws down
แต่
the
โดรา
ulti
ต้องอ้อมไป
here
ด้า
as
นบน
well. As let's see how this one goes. There it is. Pop
แต่เป็นแบบ2ไฟแล้วโดรานกันด้านหลังให้อยู่
Blossom is going to be pushed away with the handshake, but Lucid gets in, steals away the dragon, and now Owner is trying to get himself out. Shu running amok away the handshake ulti here as well. As let's see how this one goes. There it is. Pop Blossom is going to be pushed away with the handshake, but Lucid gets in, steals away the dragon, and now Owner is trying to get himself out.
ระดับไอเอท็อปมาเจอเกวนแม่งสู้ลำบากถ้าเอท็อปไม่ได้ออกอีคลิปอะไรแบบแนวนั้นอะแบบโบทาอีกอะไรเงี้ยขับแบบแม่งสับไข่จนแบบว่าไข่ระเบิดอะโอ้ my god
Yeah, but look at this. Rensman are able to do really enough damage at this stage in the game. The Callista is down. The Dragon goes over. And a huge swing of momentum to D+ that would take a gold lead in this game. And a Gwen with
คื
the
อ
Malphite stacking up feels pretty good.
เป็นไปได้ไงวะจริงๆโดรานต้องอ้อมไปด้านบนอยู่แล้วต้องอ้อมไปด้านบนอยู่แล้วอะแล้วแบบเข้าไปเลยอะเข้าไปกับเฟเกอร์2 คนแล้วปล่อยมังกรแม่งไปเลยแบบ
And so Faker still with a big gold lead. The problem is the rest of D+ are looking very, very scary. And namely, that is Smash with a 1,000 gold lead. His collector is now done as well. And so these bullet times will really be
แต่คือ
hurting
โดราน
this
พุ่งเข้า
Sheer.
ไปเอาสแมชกับแคเรียแล้วก็ลูซิดแม่งเลย
Well,
แบบ
that's
เอาหัว
the
ใจ
thing. There's
เข้ามา
also Tristan on the side lane.
Oh yes.
อันติกันเบสแล้วก็จุดไฟสแมช
But that doesn't
แล้ว
necessarily
เฟเกอร์ก็
matter
แบบ
if
จะได้
there's
เล่นได้
jungle attention. By the way, jungle attention to the top lane.
And owner is
สุด
spotted
ท้าย
out
ทุกคน
as he
แฟด
makes
ไป
his way
ฆ่า
up
จะไป
here.
ฆ่า
So
โชว์เม
the
เกอร์
little
ก็มี
kitty
ประโยชน์
cat
อะไร
going to be a good sentinel here.
Career also does have his ult at the ready. They need to be very careful about how they fight this. As CC is Aatrox's worst enemy when he's trying to come over here and
ไฟ
shadow
ไม่
these
ดี
lanes.
พี่ว่ามันก็ดับส่วนหนึ่งนะพี่ว่าไฟไม่จะไม่ดี
I
จริ
was
ง
just
สู้ได้
not
อยู่
expecting this level of discipline from D+
แต่
this
พี่คิด
late
ว่ามัน
in
เก
this
ม
series.
5 แล้ว
They
อะ
want it so bad.
แล้วมันน่าจะประมาณ
and
สัก
they're not afraid to show that they want
4
it this
ทุ่ม
bad, you know,
3 ทุ่มแล้ว
because
อะแล้วมัน
sometimes
ค่อนข้างเครี
D+
ยดอะ
sort of comes off
ส
as
ติก็คือ
the
แทบจะหลุ
cool
ดแล้ว
kids at school that kind of think it looks cringe to try, you know, that's the vibe that it gives you, but not today. Not today at all. This is raw D+ showing that they want it, and we'll see whether they can actually get there. See whether they can save you a very large coffee bill.
Yeah, well, this is Career as well, who's the rookie, right? The one who was actually in tears after the win that brought them to their first of what could be potentially 3 for the reverse sweep. As Xiu is going to get ulted here.
Yeah, Faker is going to find the chain CC as well, and I don't think the Gwen is immune enough. Does have the needle work, but it's not enough. So Faker is going to be grabbing his first kill of the game to augment his 50 CS lead.
However, there is Tristan up here. Okay, I thought we were going to see a heavier commitment from Career and that maybe they were going to try to trade for a turret. It's not going to be any real cross map here for D+.
This bird is becoming problematic.
Yeah, they're going to try to clip its wings, but Faker says, nah, I'm just going to TP. I know the Maokai is coming.
Oh, and also just gets to steal all of Doran's farm? Although he didn't. I think Doran actually got it all. With
but now they're in a spot to maybe even get something done on the Showmaker here. Playing both sides of the map with this one a little bit.
Oh, Baron is just getting started at 20 minutes into the game.
They push them away, and now we have to find some setup here. It has to be Career, really.
I mean, this time around, they have a fair bit of Baron damage, but they also have a ridiculous Baron turn as they look for Xiu, who teleported towards the top side, and there is the Buster Shot now on cooldown. That means that Doran's value is a little bit higher. As 2 seconds, slicing Malphite will back up off cooldown once again.
I think that was the right call.
เสียเวลาเปล่า
If they end up losing Xiu there,
โดนดันกลางอีก
Smash gets some extra free time.
ตัดสินใจกันพลาดไปหมดเลยว่ะเป็นไปได้ยังไงวะทีวัน
Not going to quite connect though. Shape Splitter is enough.
คือแต่กี้เขาขอย้อนนิดนึงนะจริงๆตรงนี้เนี่ยมันก็ประมาณ 12,000 แล้วอะถ้าไปช่วยตีต่อพี่ว่าแม่ง
They have a fair bit of Baron damage, but they also have a ridiculous Baron
มัน
turn.
ไม่ได้
As
เปิ
they
ด
look for Xiu, who teleported towards the top.
He's getting more work done. Be a problem here for T1. He's not going to get the whole thing on this wave, but does a lot of damage. And it's really just a Buster Shot to stop this Baron and to stop any sort of follow-up there. D+ read the play well. And I think T1 were wise to drop Baron with the Maokai coming over. It was just too risky. There's too many circles. There's too many people stuck in a Baron pit.
น่าจะกังวลเยอะ
This is exactly where D+'s composition is going to shine in a scrappy situation
มัน
like
ควรจะ
that. Like
เอาไป
T1
เลย
trying
เอาให้
to
เสร็จๆ
see
เร็วๆ
if
แล้วขึ้น
D+
ด้านบนเลย
mess
เว้ย
up the rotation.
ด้านบนมีป้อมอยู่ก็เล่นกับป้อมหนีเข้าไปในป้อมก็ได้แบบสบายๆ
Smash gets money and he's 1,500
แล้ว
gold ahead
ก็
of pace.
พี่คิดว่าน่าจะวาร์ปลงมาเลยแล้วโดรานก็รีบวิ่งมาเสริมเนี่ยตรงนี้พี่ว่าเนี่ยหลังจากที่ฆ่าได้ตรงเนี้ยเนี่ยเว็บเนี่ยตรงเนี้ยฆ่าได้เสร็จปุ๊บเนี่ยโดนไอ้เฟกเกอร์วาร์ปมาตรงเคเลียเลยแล้วก็เริ่มแบบอ๋อไม่เขาคาริสตาขอกลับไปเอาเลเบก่อน
Free time with his turret. It's too risky. There's too many circles. There's too many people stuck in a Baron pit, and this is exactly where D+'s composition is going to shine in a scrappy situation like that. I like T1 trying to see if D+ mess up the rotation. It is really at very little cost to them. But ultimately, Smash gets money, and he's 1,500 gold ahead of pace.
Yeah, this is a big lead for the Misfortune, as now T1 thinking about setting up for Soul Point once again. Last time around it didn't quite work, but They are in position.
แล้วเฟกเกอร์ไปรับนั้นอยู่ต้องรีบปล่อยมาช่วยโดรานต้องวาร์ปแล้วแล้วตำแหน่งเคนเนนมันยืนตรงนี้ไม่ได้เคนเนนมันต้องแบบไปยืนด้านขวานู่นน่ะแบบหลังเขานู่นน่ะรอเปิดมายืนนี้มันก็โดนตีอย่างเงี้ย
As once again, Shiu is now immune in the back of the pit. Not anymore though, as he needs to slink back into the mist. Flashes over the wall. Highway robbery complete, and they get out.
How many times is Lucid gonna get away with this? It's insane.
เคนเนนวาร์ปมาช้าแล้วก็ลงมาอยู่ในตำแหน่งที่ไงก็โดนตีเมาใคร
Days played. You to understand.
Very little. They only really use the Maokai ultimate there to
เนี่ยเคนเนนทำอะไรไม่ได้เลยเว้ย
Lucid just saying slow down, slow down. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna smite at 3K. And he did. Or something.
And they get out. Okay.
He's gonna ult at 3K.
Who has TP, which right now the soul laners don't real damage stuff.
Yeah. Like Trouble. It's gonna so Ipma is one heck of an ability against
far away from that. Doesn't career for shield, so
what the world is gonna
for him really could be all the difference in the world. Powerful Dragonfall series. Anyways,
I actually think that Mountain Soul is really, really interesting, especially with the fact that Lucid, like the one true tank here in this game, benefits a lot. He's going to be building those resistances, but every time you build an arm guard, it just feels doubly as good.
He has an arm guard.
โดรานต้องเล่น
Shiu has the arm
อ้อม
guard.
คือต้องไม่เล่นต่อหน้าต้องไม่เล่นตรงหน้าเมาใครตรงหน้าเอาชิดทีเว้ยต้องหาวิธีเล่นด้านข้างให้ได้อะถ้าไปเล่นตรงอย่างเงี้ยต่อเรียบร้อยแน่นอนก็เหมือนเดิมเนี่ยต้องมาเล่นตรงข้างบนเนี่ยแถวแบบที่อื่นอ่ะอันนี้ทำไม่ได้โดนดิสว่าแล้วตรงกลางดันมาไม่ได้ป้อมล่างเลยแหละป้อมแม่งอยู่ข้างล่างแม่งทำอะไรไม่ได้เลยโดรานจะเล่นยังไงโดรานจะอ้อมตรงนี้เขาเห็นเห็นโดรานแล้วโดรานตายก่อนแน่เลย
Speaking of which, yeah, Doran is just going to blow up. He flashes in, but the buster shot. They're playing tennis with a cannon. What is this? Why isn't Wadid working today? And oh my goodness! And now the Drake is going to be taken. That is triple mountain soul point for DK. T1 at reverse sweep. T1 out of the LCK Cup. Surely not, and not on the Baron. As Owner is going to rotate over. Like we were saying, that informational advantage is still there for DK. As Owner, let's see whether he can get it done. As the Baron is smote away by Lucid, of course. Twisted advance to take down the Aatrox, and Smash is going to get flashed on by Faker. He will go down, but Carrier is going to explode as well. There are the resets for Showmaker, and he looks for another explosive charge. Man, he's drawn so many beads this game. And the range is just kind of absurd. Rocket jump going to come in, and he gets another charge, and down he goes to the egg. Korea gets the information, and they will be able to take him down. So Baron for DK.
As Doran is also
way up. Oh dear. Showmaker doesn't have buster shot, so no tennis. As
โดรานมาตายอีกครับให้โชว์เมเกอร์
from Chad. That's the pit.
เล่นไม่ดีทั้งทีมเลยอ่ะแต่ถ้าเกิดคือโอเนอร์พี่ว่าโอเนอร์สติยังอยู่เพื่อโอเนอร์เฟเกอร์ไม่ได้หลุดเคเลียไม่หลุดมีเพสกับโดรานหลุดเพสอาจจะกังวลเยอะเพราะว่ามันไม่เป็นเหมือนกับโปเกมอนตามมากังวลเยอะส่วนโดรานหลุดเลยโดนโซโล่คิวในเลนแล้วหลุดไปเลย
Yeah, he's level 17.
He's got the sniper item. He's ready to hit them hard.
Feels like a pretty fantastic third item as well, because once you buy it, your passive is stacked up so far that you get the full value. It feels very, very
คือตอนหลังมาแก้วิธีเล่นแล้วมาแก้ตอนไฟคือมันเป็น2ไฟแล้วที่น่าจะไม่มีใครแบบบอกเฟเกอร์ก็เลยต้องเดินหน้าต่อไปว่ากลับไม่ได้ตรงนี้
try and save the play. The slicing maelstrom is pretty powerful. Everyone's golden, but DK are the most to be
แล้วก็จบไปเลยครับผม
Not today, because we are top 3 in the LCK Cup as DK book a ticket to Hong Kong.
And Career can barely believe it.
My God, this young man, look at CV Max glowing with pride. this young player in the bottom lane, he emotionally broke down. We've seen this so many times before, especially in CVMAX teams, but it shows that what they did, what feedback he did get, it worked. Because
มันช่างเป็นอะไรที่โคตรแซดอะเล่นไม่ดีเอ้ยแบบเล่นไม่ดีเองอะเสียดายอะคือถ้าเล่นดีๆหน่อยจะดีกว่านี้มากเสียดายโดรานวาร์ปช้ามากแล้วก็คือวาร์ปอะมันไม่ใช่คือเคนเน่มันวาร์ปแล้วมันทำอย่างนั้นคือมันทำอย่างนั้นได้ถ้าไม่ใช่เมาใครเว้ยอาจจะไม่ได้เจอเมาใครเลยมานานไงพอมันได้เจอเมาใครมานานใช่ปะมันก็เลยอาจจะมีความรู้สึกว่าแบบเฮ้ยมันก็เล่นแบบนี้ได้นี่หว่าอะไรเงี้ยก็วาร์ปลงมาแล้วเดี๋ยวมาเล่นกับเพื่อนปรากฏว่ามันเจอเมาใครมันอันติปุ๊บเมาใครมันก็ทำให้เล่นไม่ได้แล้วครับก็ระเบิดไปแล้วพี่ว่าใครได้ไป First Stand พี่คิดว่า Fear X กับ Gen G พี่คิดว่า Fear X กับ Gen G นะ